Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to implement our own version of map and reduce array methods. The actual implementation of the inbuilt map and reduce is very different and very complex. What we are aiming is to understand the map and reduce array methods in a better manner. So let's start by building our custom map method. First, let's understand what does the built-in map function do. First, it takes an array as input and returns an array as output. Second, it iterates over all elements of the array. Third, returns an array of same length as the original array. And fourth, it does not mutate the original array. Now let's say that we have an array of numbers, right? And next we build a function named custom map. It takes a callback, and in there we define a variable new array, which is an array, and we return that new array, right? And then we are going to loop over all the elements of this array because that's what map function also do, remember? In there, when we loop over it, the callback function that we will be taking here, we will call it in here. And whatever this callback function returns, we'll push it to the new array and then we'll return this new array, right? Okay. Now you might be wondering what exactly this keyword is doing here. So to answer that, let's move ahead. See, I have added this my custom method function into the prototype, right? You see, in JavaScript everything is an object. Okay, that's why we are able to do, let's say, num array dot map, right? This dot map thing is allowed because JavaScript treats everything as an object. In the array prototype, we are adding the mymap function. This is our custom function, right? So now let's try to see if this actually works. So first we'll use the inbuilt map method. So we have num array dot map. We want to return an array with all the elements multiplied by 2, right? So how do we do that? We get the element and we return the element multiplied by 2, and that's it. You see, we get 2468, but this was done with the inbuilt map method. And you see, this function right there, this function is the exact callback function that we are using in here. Okay, and this keyword is referring to this num array because JavaScript is treating this num array as an object, and in there we have the map function, the map method, right? So for the map, this keyword is going to point to this object. Now let's try to achieve the same thing with our own custom map function. So everything will remain the same. Just instead of this map, we are going to use my map, right? You see the result is exactly the same, and we use it also the same way, just like the original map method is being used. So that's how you build your custom map method. Now let's build our custom reduce method. So first let's understand what does the built-in reduce method actually do. Number one, it takes an array and returns any of the data type that you want. Number two, iterates over all the elements of the array. Number three, I'm repeating this again, but reduces the array to any data type you want. And number four, it does not mutate the original array. All right, let's say that we have an array of persons, right? The first one is named Swastik, age 23. Next, we define a custom reduce method. Okay, and this custom reduce method takes a callback and an initial value, right? When we'll use this method, I'll tell you exactly what this callback and this initial value is. So next, what we'll do is we'll return this initial value because this initial value is exactly what's returned from the reduce method. Now we will be looping over all the elements, and in there, in the initial value, we'll set whatever this callback returns. Okay, and you know exactly what this keyword is doing here. And this callback will take the initial value, the item, the current item, the index, and the complete array. Moving forward, we'll again in the prototype of array will add this custom reduce method by the name of myReduce. So that's all we need to do. Now let's see if this actually works. So here we have the person array dot reduce. We are using the built-in reduce method. What we want in return is an array of objects in which every object contains a key of the name of the person and the value as the length of that name. Okay, so that's what we are doing. The reduce method takes an accumulator and a current value. Okay, and this is the initial value that I was talking about. You see, this initial value is right here because you give the initial value, the data type, whatever you want the reduce to return. Okay, so we give it a initial value of an empty object because in this empty object we will be filling up the name and value, right? And this initial value we are continuously updating with every iteration, and this initial value, exactly this one, is what we are returning from here. All right, so this is how we use the actual inbuilt reduce method, and if we run this, we get an object with key name and value as the length of that name. Now, let's try to achieve the same thing with our custom reduce method. And because we have added my reduce inside prototype, we can easily use that on this array. Okay, so instead of reduce, we'll use our own built my reduce. Let's try to run this. It works. So that's how you build your custom reduce method. I hope you found this useful. If so, please make sure to like, share, and yes, do subscribe. Thank you.